Good morning. We're back today again. We are super excited to have special guest, Dr. Hayes, in studio with us today. And again, just to reiterate what we're doing here at Grove, we are celebrating Men's Health Week. The men's ministry here at Grove is celebrating Men's Health Week. So all week we've had different presenters come in, talked about different parts of the male. Again, we look at man as a triune being, mind, body, and spirit. And this week, or today I should say, Dr. Hayes is here to give us some insight on the body, diets, things of that nature that hopefully can help someone that may be dealing with different issues. Just as a quick announcement, please join us on Saturday if possible. We'll be here at Grove at 11 a.m. until 1 p.m. for our shop talk. We have a lot of Q&A and dialogue planned so that, if you have questions regarding something that you may have seen this week, you'll have the opportunity to talk to the panel there in regards to those things. Also, you may notice that we have the blue ribbon on today as we are celebrating, or we are bringing awareness to prostate cancer awareness, as Grove is a part of Painting the Region Blue. So this coming weekend, Father's Day weekend, we'll all be adorning our blue ribbons, as Portsmouth, ironically, has the highest mortality rate of Black men dying from prostate cancer. So I don't know if maybe Dr. Hayes might want to touch on that as well. But without further ado, Dr. Hayes, welcome, and thank you for taking time out of your schedule to share some information with us today. So if you would, tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do currently, and then we'll dialogue about some other things.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Corey. Anthony Hayes. I am a local physician here in Portsmouth. I operate out of Continental Medical Services on Queen Street. I've been in the area since 2017, but always kept a focus on community health and working with African Americans, not only African Americans, but really focusing on some of our issues, and just want to really address those.
Awesome. Now, speaking of that, what are, I guess, some of the most prevalent issues that you see with dealing with African Americans when it comes to health, and men in particular?
Men in particular, well, I mean, you said a big one, prostate issue. One of my biggest issues as a primary care provider is, by definition, primary care, we're supposed to be the doctors who basically come in and we help try to prevent any major issues. So, it's screenings, cancer screenings, talking to men about whether they want to, whether they want to get a colonoscopy. That's a big one, just, because of what it entails. But what we're trying to do is prevent colon cancer.
Right.
Also prostate exams. People, they have a problem with the digital examination. We do that, but we also have blood work. But the thing is, those are both, they're both by research. There's some research going back and forth, but as African Americans, we find that those kind of help detect cancer a little bit sooner and thus have better outcomes. Also, diet is an issue. It's interesting. I can have patients who are diabetics who can't get their sugar levels down. However, when they go into a hospital, and you control what you can intake, all of a sudden their sugar levels, we gotta come out of the hospital and their insulin levels are lower.
Right.
Because now they can't, they can't eat the way they want to. Right. and you'll see that. So, so basically it's just really, I think at the end of the day, we all know what we're supposed to do. It's just the doing it portion of it, and the actual applying things that we know. And I mean, I'm guilty of that as well. But I mean, what we do need to do is find a way to, I would say, help each other. And that's in a big sense. We're both, we're both in an organization of men. And to be able to reach out to a brother that you might say, look, we need to, I'm gonna give you an example. I had one of my guys that brought me into Omega. And he came to visit me, and we were talking, and I saw he was having a hard time putting the seatbelt on. And I just had a real talk with him about that, you know what I'm saying? Because he was only a couple years older than me. And, and I think it took him off a little bit, but he called me back months later and said, I'm working on, he just kind of on the side, I said, this ain't nothing I got to say in front of a whole bunch of other brothers. Right. But I'm telling you that I see this, I care about you. Right. So I'm gonna say it. It may be, and I don't want you to take it the wrong way, because the struggle is real. Right. Oh, no. You feel me? The struggle is real, and we can dress it up and stuff. But the fact of the matter is, we got to look at our diet and exercise. And even if we can't exercise to the point where you go to the gym, but you can get together with a couple people and say, look, let's go make a commitment to go walk together. Right. Let's make a commitment to meet and go just do a lap with somebody, 2 laps or whatever. We ain't got to time each other, right. And we talking while we're doing it, and it becomes a thing. And then that gives you a little bit of accountability, because I know that a lot of times with when you don't have a problem with disappointing yourself, right. And sometimes but you have a hard time if I say we're gonna go out together, and I'm not there, you say, where you at? And I'm gonna say, oh man, let me hurry up and get over there.
And accountability is definitely important. So you saying diet. Now what are some of the, I guess, health issues that just for lack of a better term, a bad diet? What are some of the things that you're seeing the effects on men? Well,
definitely, fried foods are definitely a big thing. Polysaturated fats, are eating also high carbs. If we go back, we really look at our diet and our body makeup. Historically, we were bred to be able to sustain our sodium, or hold our sodium, because it allowed us to hold fluid water. Water follows sodium. You got to realize what it took to be able to work in the sun from can't see in the morning. I mean, can't see in the morning to can't see at night. Right. You have to be able to. You have to have enough energy to work under the sun. You see how how the weather is. So basically, if you couldn't do that, you didn't survive, and you didn't make it. And so what would happen? You get people who kind of, who adapted, and so you find somebody who can hold on to their sodium a little bit tighter. And when we develop, and you have a male that does that, you hook it up with a female that they can have a bunch of kids who are able to hold on, and what does that do? The ability to hold on to that sodium allows you to hold on to water.
Oh, okay.
Water, you know what I'm saying, that you need to, that you don't, fall out of dehydration. The other thing is you need energy.
Mm-hmm.
You need to have somebody who can work and who can store energy.
Mm-hmm.
So you're taking in carbs. So you had a very high carb diet back then that you had to be able to hold on to. Again,
yeah, I never even thought about that.
Today. But now what happens today? We don't work that way no more.
Yeah.
We don't work that hard no more.
Right.
So now we got this. We developed from these people who could hold on to this sodium
And high
hold
carb.
on to the carb hard. But we're not putting out that energy.
Burning it out. Yeah.
We're not putting out that energy, and we are, we gain it, and we're seeing the results of high blood pressure. You talk about eating, the innards of the pig and whatever was left over.
Yeah.
Now we talk about cholesterol.
Yeah.
We talk about diabetes. And all those.
I never thought about that.
Mm-hmm. So we start seeing people getting stuff younger. We start seeing people who are affected, our kids are getting affected. I've had patients, that you start putting kids on blood pressure medication while they're in high school. So the thing is like eating salt. So salt is a thing. One of the first medications that I will give, especially African Americans who have hypertension, is hydrochlorothiazide. So a lot of people who are watching this, they say, I'm on hydrochlorothiazide. Why? Because that eliminates salt. That kind of allows your body to release the salt, and thus some of the water. Therefore, hopefully you will decrease your blood pressure. And that's along with other stuff, ACE inhibitors, calcium channel blockers, stuff like that. But that, and then we go into then we can go into diabetes and elevated carbohydrates and simple sugars, and people and having a knowledge about just even with fruit. I had a patient one time who came into me and he was excited. He said, I'm serious about this diabetes. I'm juicing. I'm doing all this stuff every day. And we go in and we check his hemoglobin A1C, which is a test we check every 90 days, especially if it's uncontrolled. And his hemoglobin A1C was up, and I had to tell him, I said, dude, it's beautiful what you're doing.
Right.
I love it. I would ease off of the, so many of the fruits in there because you got fructose. And I always tell patients, I said, I would rather you eat an orange than drink orange juice, because orange juice is sugar water. The orange juice, at least you're getting the fiber with the orange.
Right.
So my thing is, you can add some more vegetables to that, and decrease the amount of fructose, which is a sugar.
Right. What are some? That's interesting that you said that. What's some of the fruits, I guess, that are high in sugar?
Well, I'll say some of them, but I can tell you for sure one of the highest is grapes.
Grapes. One of my favorites.
This time of year, one of the highest is grapes. And you want to, watermelon is cool. There's not a lot of, you got a lot of hydration. Like a lot of patients who don't like drinking a lot of fluid, stuff like that, like to eat watermelon because it has a lot of fluid and stuff like that. But grapes, one of the highest, and that was interesting to find out. So, and you can, when you eat raisin, which is a dehydrated grape, these those are high in sugar as well.
I'm gonna tell you how country I am. We used to eat watermelon and put salt on the watermelon.
We did that in California too, bro. We did that in California too. Just really being cognizant of what you're putting out in your body and stuff. How
important is portion control?
That's extremely important. I mean, my thing is this: at the end of the day, you got one life to live. That's what people look at it as, and they want to enjoy it. Like you want to eat something that tastes good. Mm-hmm. So if we, I usually have that battle with my patients. I'll be like, listen, we can. All right, I'm saying you like fried chicken. All right, you like fried chicken. So let's. Okay, how much do you have? Don't go to KFC and get the bucket.
Right.
Maybe we'll get a 2-piece, and maybe out of that, just try to scale it down, and then we can do portion control. You want things that taste that people are gonna eat. It's hard to make a recommendation to do something like I want you to go on tofu, bean sprouts,
right.
And all this stuff, and it's hard to it's hard to get so I said, all right, I give you a steak, I give you a steak, and potatoes and whatever. But let's decrease the size and let's watch what we put on it.
Right.
You know, if you can avoid putting too many sauces on it,
Mm-hmm.
that's fine. But you know, but the thing is, you want something that, you know, because the thing is, I usually state that I would like for you to as we get older, like try to pick a meal that you're going to devote to your health. Mm-hmm. And as you get older, you got to add another meal. As a kid, you know, you can go in and have pizza for breakfast, mm-hmm. you know, find whatever in the refrigerator, chicken, whatever, fried chicken, you know. But as you get older, you know, let's dedicate a meal. I'm in my 50s now, so like, you know, years back, I started dedicating. I said on my breakfast, okay, I'm gonna have oatmeal, mm-hmm. which is something that, you know, not necessarily. You know, I love it. I grew up with.
But you can't put a bunch of raisins in it.
Right, you can't put a bunch of raisins. You know, you got to put some things in there. Yeah, but you know, amount. You know, a measured amount and stuff. You know, just, but that's good fiber.
Right.
You know, which helps with heart disease. You know, and that's what we're talking about when we talk about high blood pressure. When we talk about diabetes. When we talk about hypercholesterol. We're talking about heart disease. We're trying to prevent heart disease. When you get all three of those, you get what's called metabolic syndrome, which is, you know, which decreases your rate. You know, or increase your mortality, you know, increase the mortality, you know, based on heart disease. So, as you know, that's the things that we try to avoid, you know, and you can basically tell me that you're doing stuff, but when we look at your blood work, right. You know, and I look at, you know, and people come in and say, I got my, you know, I'm taking the insulin, mm-hmm. But my blood sugar's staying high, and you know, and I bump it up and stuff. And one thing I have to tell people, and I'm looking at the camera when I say this. I can't out insulin a bad diet. Mm-hmm. I can't out blood pressure medicate a bad diet.
That's a great point.
So my thing is, if you're not doing that stuff away, then it's going to show. Again, you know, because I see when people get in the hospital and we start seeing their blood sugar start to level out, and their blood pressure goes down because they don't have access to, you know, to food, you know, you know, if you can discipline yourself, you know, portion control and not eating while you watch the TV or snacking while you watch the television and stuff like that.
That raises a question for me as well. So are you able to, say that you are on insulin, are you able to change your diet and eventually get off of insulin?
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, right. I mean, and that's you know, and that's what I tell people, you know, it's like I can put you on it and you can take yourself off of it. Mm-hmm. So, you know, again, that's diet and exercise. Actually, you know, and I've had patients who, you know, look, your hemoglobin A1C levels are getting too low. You know, let's back off. You know, we got to take you off some of this insulin because you're doing what you do, because your body is still making insulin.
And that's the other question I had too. So when you have, I guess, the high A1C, is it that your body is not producing enough insulin, or is it producing too much insulin?
Okay, that's what we talk about. We talk about the difference between type 1 diabetes and type 2 diabetes. Type 2 diabetes is where type 1 diabetes, you're not making insulin at all. You have antibodies to your pancreas, and you're not making it all.
So on that, the type 1, then you're going to always have to have insulin.
Exactly, and you're going to, typically people are born with, you know, they're born with this, or they get at a young age for the most part. But type 2 diabetes, you know, we get it as we develop more fat cells, and you can also be thin to get it. But what's happening is your body is making insulin. You're just not responding to it.
I got you.
Insulin is basically the key that opens up the muscle or the organs to allow the glucose to go in and be utilized. Mm-hmm. And that's why we say walking is important, because one thing we know is that exercise, muscle, will use glucose without insulin. Mm. You know, and that's one of the reasons why we encourage exercise. You know, exercise where you get your heart rate up a little bit. And as you lose weight and exercise, that yes, you can go down. You can go down, and we can, you know, the amount of insulin that's required can go down. You know, and that's the goal, you know. But that's the life change. That's the first thing we try to get is if we can do the life change, and we, you know.
So now you got the type 2 diabetes, and then you have the high cholesterol. Mm. So again, both of them are, you know, dealing with your diet. But what are some of the things to do or foods that you shouldn't have if you have high cholesterol?
Okay, high cholesterol. So again, saturated fats. if you can, if you're strong enough to take the skin off the chicken, if you don't get leaner cuts of meat, fish is good. Fish oil is good. Olive oil is good. Finding meats with less marbling and leaner cuts. Those are all things that would help. Cooking with fish with olive oil.
And is that a situation as well? Once your cholesterol gets lower, that you can come off of the cholesterol medication as well?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's a myth when doctors tell you that you're going to have these medications for the rest of your life.
Again, you got to take yourself off the medication. I mean, one of the things that you do now, so to be, there is argument for, like statins, which we do take for cholesterol, and statins do help strengthen our arteries. So there's you may not have high cholesterol, you may be a diabetic and still be put on a statin. You may have hypertension and still be put on a statin, which is, you say it's a cholesterol medication, but it does help. It helps stabilize plaques in our arteries and stuff like that. So, so basically, it is a medication that is a cholesterol medication, but you would stay on it even though your cholesterol is not necessarily high.
Gotcha.
So I want to make sure I say that.
Right. So now with the cholesterol, your high cholesterol, then that leads then to heart disease.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So are there any flat out signs, I guess, for heart disease? Do you have any glaring signs, or like for instance, you see, in fact, we had a frat brother not long ago that just passed, and it's your body telling you something to be alerted to say, hey, something's going on.
Yeah, that sudden cardiac event where that happens. That's definitely unfortunate. Thing is, you have the chest pain, you have angina, which is unstable chest pain. We can have heart attacks. That could be a sign. Also, just we can check blood. We can check the likelihood. We can check family history. There are things that we can look at. We can look at cholesterol, your cholesterol levels, blood pressure, and we can assume that certain things. Now, getting stress tests, echocardiograms, we can with all those, But the thing is, is there something that necessarily feel? I mean, the thing is, if we lucky, you might have that, that increased pain and stuff that doesn't become terminal,
Right.
But
because you often hear that your body will give you signs for different things. But I know, like with, in talking to people in regards to prostate cancer, there's not really anything major that happens to let you know that you are, having an issue with your prostate until a lot of times it's too late.
And that's why we do the screening. And
So
that's why we do
the
screening.
screening
That's important that you know your family history.
Family history
Because 40,
screenings.
they say at 40, 35, 40, they say, we start, you can start. But if you got a family history, you got a first degree relative who had prostate cancer, you find out how old they were, but you screen earlier, and that's something that you need to know. And unfortunately, black men, some of we might not know our father.
Right.
You feel me? I got a quick story. I had a guy one time, big dude. He was in his 50s. Big guy. His job was moving furniture, and his dad died. He never knew his dad. His brother told him. His brother finally said, his brother after his dad died, he said, does dad have any other kids? But he said, well, I think he had a son. The brother finds this dude, tell him, look, you don't know me, I'm your brother. Our father died. I just want to let you know he died of prostate cancer.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? He goes to get checked. He's in stage 4 prostate cancer.
Wow.
He didn't know.
Didn't know.
Early dude, played basketball. He had a teenage son, played basketball with him. And he went in there and found out, he was in there. It was interesting because he just if I say he had prostate cancer, they operated, and there was a roll coming back. And but he came back, and but that's something that you don't. I mean, he was at stage 4, and at that stage you have some metastasis. So one of the more common things, you start to feel like back pain. You may you may see changes in your urine stream, definitely that, or the fact that you can't, you have a problem urinating altogether. If you get those kind of signs, that's definitely something we'll check. But hopefully, if you've been, going to your checkups, then you would, the numbers and stuff in the exam, and we start looking at that,
What is now we talked about diabetes, high cholesterol, and then heart disease. What is congestive heart failure? Is that something tied directly to heart disease?
Yeah, congestive heart failure is, layman's term, it's the inability to get as much of the blood out of the heart per stroke, and so we see manifestations of that, in lower extremities. Sometimes you see people with swelling, edema, because they're not bringing the blood back up because the pump is not working.
All right, man. I appreciate you. Like I said, if you could leave us with maybe 3 or 4 bullet points for everybody that might be listening, as far as what you would want to share as far as men's health, and kind of put a big bow on everything.
Okay, so I think one of the big things is diet. We talked about diet. A lot of green leafy vegetables.
Right.
Red vegetables are good. Vegetables of different colors, perfect. Also, a big thing also is smoking, tobacco, cigarettes. One of the things they teach you are, in all the studies, is that tobacco or cigarette smoke is the number one cause, or the one thing that worsens all cancers. I don't care what cancer you're talking about, it's going to worsen. Another thing is, if we can do some accountability, find somebody in church that may be in the same shape as you, but they have but they want to do something with it. You can even be in a wheelchair, but if you guys gonna exercise, or make a commitment to at least call each other and say, we got a team, and we're gonna do this. Even you go to the point where you even maybe have a group where you say, this is what I'm gonna eat today. I'm gonna plan out my meals, and that's a big thing. We talk about meal prep, proportions, weighing food, stuff like that. It takes a lot of discipline. But I think your benefits will be out of this world.
Awesome, man. Again, thank you for coming. We appreciate having you
anytime,
here.
bro.
And we welcome all of you to come out on Saturday as we have more dialogue, question and answer. Thank you so much, man.
No problem.
Appreciate
Thank
you.
you, sir.
All right.